Every 10 minutes in America, someone gets added to the organ transplant waiting list. Every 10 minutes. And every single day, around 17 people on that list die. Not because the organs don't exist, because the system couldn't match them in time. That number has barely moved in decades. Doctors are brilliant, the technology in hospitals is extraordinary, but the matching process? It was still built on rules written in the 1980s. Until now. Because AI just changed everything. And I'm not using that phrase loosely. Before we get into this, if you're new here and you care about real stories that actually matter, subscribe. This channel is just getting started, and trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming. Okay, so here's what you need to understand first. When someone dies and their organs are donated, there's a clock. It's not a metaphor, it's literally a biological countdown. A donated heart? You have roughly 4 to 6 hours before it's no longer viable. A liver? Maybe 12 to 24 hours. A kidney? Up to 36. Every minute that passes while hospitals, coordinators, and databases are trying to figure out who gets that organ is a minute closer to the organ being wasted. And here's the part that genuinely shocked me when I researched this. Around 20% of donated organs in the US are discarded every year. Not because they were bad organs, because the system couldn't place them fast enough, or coordinators made conservative calls under pressure, or the logistics just fell apart. Think about what 20% means. Tens of thousands of organs, tens of thousands of people who could have had a second chance. Now, enter AI. In 2023, researchers started deploying machine learning models to predict organ recipient compatibility at a level human analysts simply can't match. These systems pull from hundreds of variables simultaneously. Blood type, tissue markers, kidney function scores, patient age, geographic distance, how long someone's been waiting, the likelihood of rejection, post-transplant survival probability. A human coordinator trying to weigh all of that in 90 minutes, under pressure, at 2 in the morning? That's where errors creep in. That's where organs get declined because someone played it safe. The AI doesn't panic, it doesn't get tired, and it's processing data that would take a human team hours to work through in seconds. One system, developed partly through partnerships with UNOS, the United Network for Organ Sharing, started flagging organs that coordinators were about to reject. And in a percentage of those cases, the AI was right. The organ was viable. The match was possible. The transplant happened. Lives that would have ended didn't. But wait, because here's where it gets even more interesting. The matching problem is only half of it. The other half is prediction. See, right now, a lot of people die on the waiting list, not just because organs are wasted, but because we can't predict fast enough who is about to crash. Who's going to go from stable enough to wait to critical within 48 hours? There are hospitals now using AI models that track patient vitals, lab results, and historical data to essentially predict deterioration before it happens. One model out of Stanford had a 94% accuracy rate in identifying liver disease patients likely to die within 90 days. 94%! That's not a research footnote. That changes how we prioritize allocation. If you know patient A is going to deteriorate in 3 weeks and patient B is stable, that changes everything about who gets the next available liver. And look, I know what some of you are thinking. Okay, but who controls this? Who decides if the AI is biased? What if it gets it wrong? Those are the right questions, and honestly, the field is grappling with them hard right now. There are documented concerns about historical bias in medical AI, where models trained on older data can disadvantage certain racial or socioeconomic groups because the training data itself reflected those disparities. This is not a small thing. Researchers are aware of it. Some are actively building bias auditing directly into these systems. But it's a problem that still needs solving, and anyone who tells you it's already fixed is overselling it. What I can tell you is that the alternative, keeping a manual system that discards 20% of donated organs and kills 17 people a day, isn't some clean ethical baseline. That system has its own failure modes. They're just older ones, and we've gotten used to them. Here's a real story that puts this in human terms. A woman in her early 40s, mother of 2, was on the kidney transplant list for 6 years. 6 years of dialysis, 3 times a week, 4 hours a session. Her health declining, her window narrowing. A kidney came available. Under the old system, her compatibility score was close, but not the strongest match in the region. She might have been passed over. An AI-assisted allocation tool flagged something the standard scoring missed. A specific protein marker combination that suggested she had a significantly higher chance of long-term compatibility with this particular kidney than her general score implied. She got the transplant. 2 years later, she's healthy. Her kids still have their mother. I'm not telling you AI saved her, because no one can say that definitively. I'm telling you the system that found that match wouldn't have found it before. And now this is expanding fast. The UK's NHS Blood and Transplant Division is running AI pilots. Canada's provincial programs are exploring automated triage tools. Australia's Organ and Tissue Authority has been reviewing predictive modeling integration since 2022. This isn't an American story, it's a global one. The researchers working on this aren't just trying to optimize a database, they're trying to stop the bleeding from a system that has been failing quietly for 40 years. 17 people a day in the US alone. Multiply that across every country with a transplant waiting list, and you start to understand the actual scale of what's at stake here. Now, here's the question I'll leave you with, and I genuinely want your answer in the comments. If AI can match organs better than humans, predict patient decline more accurately, and save thousands of lives a year, but there's still a real risk of bias in how those systems are built, do you trust the technology, or do you wait until it's perfect? Because here's the thing, perfect never comes, and people are dying right now while we wait for it. Drop your answer below. I read every comment, and if this story hit you the way it hit me when I first found it, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't yet, and I'll see you in the next one.